Hey guys, I'm Keith.
And I'm his brother Mason.
And this is the And His Brother podcast. Thanks for checking in. Our goal with this series is to really be the big brothers you wish you had. A lot of people don't have parental figures. They don't have brothers they feel like they can look up to, ask advice for, ask the right questions, ask the weird questions. We're hoping to provide a space and to provide some of the answers you guys need.
Yeah, so today is just going to be a chance for you guys to get to know a little bit more about us, where we come from, where we're currently at, and where we're going, because we want to bring you guys along for the journey. Today will just be about our motivations and hopefully just give you guys a little bit better idea of who we are. Who are these handsome young men giving you this advice?
Decreasingly young, increasingly handsome. We're going to go ahead and get started.
Let's do it. So when I was 10...
That was when we were supposed to go. You tell me. I was about to go. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Mason, go ahead and just tell us what you're most proud of and what motivated you to get there.
Yeah, so I'm really proud of the 2020 Los Angeles Lakers and the way they were able to overcome the bubble.
It was
and win that national championship.
Okay.
No such thing as a Mickey Mouse ring.
What?
They called it a Mickey Mouse ring because it was in Florida.
I hate everything.
Continue.
Continue.
You want to run that back?
No, I was gonna run with it.
I'm here for it. I think when I think about being proud of myself, that is something that does not come very easy to me. But it's something I'm trying to grow in. So when I think now about things that I'm proud of myself, I would say some of the moves I have made in the past year or so with graduating from grad school and being able to get a job that I feel like really allows me to use my strengths and help develop new ones. But really what I'm proud of most within that is that I've been able to surround myself by some really phenomenal people in my life. Whether that was, and his brother. And whether that's family, whether that's friends that I've made along the way. I feel like a couple of years ago, I had like friends when I was like, I'm not really trying to make any new ones and like whatever, my community is solid. But I think allowing myself to be a little bit more open and expand my community has led me to things like being able to graduate, being able to get this job that I really love, being able to do things like this podcast.
Did it, for the community and stuff, did that happen like naturally? Was it more intentional? Was it kind of like a mix depending on the person?
I think when I was younger, it felt just kind of like more natural because like you just go to school, like these are people you go to school with.
These are the ones you get along with.
These are people you go to church with.
You got kicked out of class with.
Yeah. These are people like you play sports with and it's like cool, like that's your community. But like definitely once you hit adulthood, I think if you're not careful, you can end up not necessarily like maintaining a solid community. So I think it does take a little bit more. I think it takes intention throughout your whole life. I think there was definitely intent. I maybe was not as mindful of it, but I definitely was making intent to maintain friendships and relationships. But definitely as you get older and people get busier and people spread out a little bit more.
People start moving.
So I think I'd say I'm proud of myself for being able to maintain and help build a community that I really loves and supports me within work, within school, and just within my personal life.
Cool.
Does that even make sense to anybody?
It's not a live feed. This isn't Twitch. No, that makes sense. Yeah, I feel like one of my biggest things, I've kind of told you, like my main goal this year has been to like cultivate my community. I'm not good at making new friends. I'm going to put that out. But even like with a lot of my old friends, like moving back out to LA a few years ago and like, like Mike moved back and like I've had other people like move, trying to like intentionally invest as like life gets busier and busier and busier with like work and like personal life, being like, I'm very like, I'm tired, I don't want to do nothing. So it's like, all right, let me send this text. I actually have to send a couple texts. Like, I'm free. Not right now. But like, I'm free Wednesday. Are you free Wednesday? And then even if I'm tired on Wednesday, it's like, all right, I have these plans.
Yeah.
Whereas like, especially like in college and stuff, like it's a lot more natural to just be like, what are you up to right now? Because everyone lives in like a 1 mile
Yeah.
radius. Like you can just walk to their house, but like that doesn't fly anymore. Like people are up in Santa Clarita and you're in Glendale and like, you know, like whatever, like people are around. So it's definitely been like that's not my most proud moment. But I know cultivating community for me takes a lot more intention
Yeah.
than I initially ever wanted to give, firstly.
Fair.
Like, they don't need me, I don't need them.
Yeah.
But it's also like better.
Yeah. And you've gotten really good at that.
Thanks, man. I've gotten older.
I can tell.
How would you define pride? Because I realize like we're talking about like what you're proud of, and you're proud of like maintaining those friendships and stuff. Proud of like
I think pride.
like
is
the good kind of pride.
Yeah. No. Well, I was just gonna say
Pride is the
like.
devil.
Shout out to Cole. But no, I think when I think about pride, I have like a vision in my head of like something you would like dap yourself up for, or like pat yourself on the back for.
Yeah.
And for me, pride has really been a journey of growth. So I'm proud of something for myself and like for others when it's. I can look at where something started and look at where something is now and see like there was change or there was progress. So it's really easy like physically to look like, oh, like I wanted to hit these numbers in the weight room, and like 2 months later like you hit them. So it's like, oh, like I have a sense of pride, a sense of accomplishment, like I did that.
Right.
Or we did that, maybe it was with a group. But I think when I think about things that are a little bit more internal, like identity or like developing a good, strong mental health and maintaining that, can be a little bit harder to see, and definitely for me it can be a little bit harder to say that I'm proud of myself. Yeah, but with that being said, I can't say that I'm proud of myself for where I got to, but I'm not really sure how I would define it. It's kind of just like, yeah, it just feels like dapping yourself up. That's how it feels for me.
Not a bad way to define it.
Yeah.
Like you did all right.
Yeah, like that was good. That was solid. But like one of those crisp daps, like it echoes like in the room, and like everyone's like, "Whoa!"
I saw this thing. It was like this dentist, and he was like, "I rushed like a surgery for one of my patients," and it's this like 50-year-old white dude. And he goes, "You know what, doc? You're my," and he goes, and he dapped me up, and I swear it was a sonic boom to the heart. I was like, "All right." We grew up black, so you know, we were allowed to say it.
It's true. So Keith, what would you say you are most proud of about yourself, besides being related to me?
Besides, not even on the list. What am I most proud about myself of? I think I am most proud, and this is wild, of like who I am, which is very general. The context for that being like, you grew up with me, right? Lots of anger, lots of depression, lots of like, I'm still pretty dang selfish, but I think it's like for me and mine, whereas it was a lot of for me. You know, there's a lot of like social situations that I don't necessarily care to be in. When I was younger, I would just take myself out, right?
Yeah.
Like I'd tell people straight to the face, like, oh, like I'm cool not kicking it with you. Like I remember telling my like friends in college even, like, they're like, and do you think like down the road our kids will live together? And I was like, I don't plan on being friends with you. Like I would just say stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which like I am not with most of them, and I meant. But I think I've come a long way in my ability to accept firstly who I am, and that has allowed me to depend more on others.
Yeah.
I still, I'm still pretty independent, still like struggle with that as like a concept.
Yeah.
But I think it took a lot. Like I was a lot, every teacher I've ever had said I was a handful. Obviously our parents, that's like the joke of the family. But I think my ability to kind of like rein in some of those things, not necessarily change who I am, but not hate myself for those things, took a lot of work. And so like being able to accept those things has been awesome.
Do you feel like in part of the journey of becoming proud of yourself, do you feel like that involved a lot of forgiving yourself?
For some things, yeah, like there's definitely things that I held on to when I like things like mistakes I made when I was younger, how I talked to people, whatever that I feel like I would like hold on to, like you like fall asleep thinking about like all the mean things you said that day. Like I would do that for like years. Like when I was like 20, I'm still thinking about things I said when I was like 13. You know, so it was like forgiving like almost like younger me. Like I was really holding on to things for like years. And it's like, yo, man, like, I didn't know better, or I didn't have better, or, I didn't have, like, necessarily, like, better examples.
Yeah.
Like, so I think it was, like, kind of learning to accept that those things happened and kind of focus. Like, one of the big things that changed when I was, like, maybe 23, 24 was, like, learning to focus on, like, just today. Like, if I effed up yesterday, not like it's fine. Like, there are consequences. I might have to deal with that. I might have to deal with that person. I might have to deal with whatever. But like focusing on like if a circumstance comes up that's similar, do better than last time.
Yeah.
And over time, like over the last few years, that has made me, I think, be much more comfortable with the mistakes that I've made. Yeah. As well as like just with who I am as a whole. Also like getting to know people, being a better friend. I'm like, but like it's helped me like realize like a lot of what I did was like human.
Yeah.
Like, bullied a kid when I was in, like, 8th grade a little bit for, like, 2 days, but it, like, really messed him up. But it's like, I was in 8th grade. I was going through some stuff. Like,
hurt people.
Yeah, but it's like, I held on to that for years, and it's like, yo, man, when I look back at, like, my 8th grade self, I'm like, that dude needed a hug. A smack in the face, but, like, a hug, too, Like,
oh, God.
So I think it's like stuff like that has like, realizing like how human I was, because I always wanted to be like perfect.
Yeah.
And just realizing like that's not a thing, and that's okay that it's not a thing. So now when I like make mistakes, I'm like, yeah, it's like mad human. Like that's the thought I'll have is like, so it's a human thing. It's a human error. So I think that's the thing I'm most proud of is just like actually having grown, because it took way longer than it should have.
That makes a lot of sense. I feel like for me that forgiveness piece is part of the acceptance piece.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing too, is like having grace on your younger self. So if you are currently your younger self, it can get better.
It gets better.
And you may not be this way forever.
Yeah. And I think it's like
in a good way.
Or a bad way.
Could
be a killer.
There's still time to ruin it.
There's still time.
But no. Yeah, but I think that's a big thing too, is like something that comes with experience and age, as I'm realizing working with my kids, is perspective. It's not, you can kind of be like, I feel like it's something like people can be led to, and you can try to remind people like, hey, like look back on this, like where you were now, and or focusing on the future, like, hey, like you're 13, you're 14, you're 25, like you're 40, you have time to grow, to develop, to learn. But we're in such like a day and age where we see people our age or younger or slightly older that are like feel like they got it, and we're like, dang, so like I should be there. But that's been a big thing for me, is like having grace on my younger self, having grace on my current self. Like you're saying, that like we're still human, we're still learning, we're still growing.
And I think a big thing for me was like, I didn't think I could change. Like that was like a big thing, is like even when I would like kind of do better for like a couple months or a couple weeks or whatever, I would revert. And so like this thought in my head would be like I'd have the thought like, see, like I told you, like I knew you couldn't change. Like it'd be me talking to myself, but it's like, see, you can't change. You'll always be that guy. You'll always be that guy. And so like that was like really hard to overcome, and it was almost like I had to like fight myself. Like it's like says who, and it's like says me.
I'm in charge.
Right, I'm in charge. No, but like it felt like this like kind of like duality, is like I was the one who thought I couldn't change, which made it hard to want to try to change.
Yeah,
because it's like if you. I never thought it possible or not never, obviously, but like for a very long time, I didn't think it was possible, which made putting in the effort a waste of effort.
Yeah.
And so I think it took almost like, it was like a do or die like situation. Like I remember like having the thought like, I better figure this out or like completely give up. And that was like I came to like the precipice of just like figure it out now or completely give up. And that was where like the bigger change, and it sucks because that's like the rock bottom type stuff, but it like that was like what led to the progression of like, can I just be different today? All right, cool. Can I be different today? Crap, I wasn't. All right, can I be different tomorrow? And then it became like, all right, 2 good days to 1 bad day. That's progress. 3 good days to 1 bad day. All right, cool. And it was like, and you start fixing up the ratios. like I still got bad days. I still got anger. Like I still feel these things, you know.
Yeah.
But it was just like convincing myself for a minute that it was even possible, that I really wanted it, all that
stuff.
all that
Whatever
trash.
it is. No, that makes a lot of sense.
That it was worth it. Like,
Yeah.
why be nice when I don't got, like, who's helping me, you know?
Yeah. Little Kendrick Lamar, ain't nobody praying for me.
Yeah. And that's how I felt. Like, obviously I had you guys around, but, like, I was also, like, especially when I was living in, like, across the country. Like, I was in Pittsburgh for a while. I was like, I can just be, like, I remember, like, thinking, like, I could shut off my phone and just be on and no one would be able to contact me. You guys didn't know. Like, you knew where I lived at the time, but I was like, I could just sign a new lease.
Yeah. Sure glad you didn't. Because I believe you.
I had to get talked out of it once or twice.
It's all good.
James Rose and Queasy was like, you can't be homeless. And I was like, what do I need a job for, man? This place sucks.
This place being life. Stick around though. No, that's huge though. I think that is ultimately somewhere where we're all trying to get to, is to being able to be like, I'm proud of who I am, and what I've done.
But that is what I'm most proud of. I think is just being able to grow.
Yeah.
Next thing we kind of want to talk about, right, was motivations.
Yeah.
So for you talking about, we talked about it a little bit, like your community and everything, like what motivates, and it doesn't have to just be the thing you're most proud of, but like in general, how are you motivated, like by others? What motivates you internally, like within yourself? Yeah.
I think
You can talk about your goals, I guess, if you like.
No, I think when I think about just what motivates me in general is, I think it all comes from kind of like I was talking about earlier when I think about perspective. And just thinking about like in the grand scheme of things, if you zoom out, we had a very blessed upbringing.
Yeah.
Very, very blessed life. And I think about the opportunities I was afforded, and I really want to, like, in a sense, give back. And I feel like that's something you only hear about from, like, celebrities or, like, people that, like, made liars, or people that, like, made it huge and accomplished all these, like, big things and stuff like that. But I think it can also very much be on, like, a community and, like, personal level. So I feel like I've had some wonderful opportunities through school and through work and just, like I said, like, the community I built around me. And I want to be able to give back. I want to be able to help bring people along the journey. Similar, to why we're doing this podcast. I want to be able to help people with things that I may have needed help with that I didn't get, or share the information with you guys that I did get that helped me get to where I am. And so I think that's just a very big motivator for me is I feel like we could all use a little help sometimes, and I know I don't have all the answers, and I never will. And I find some confidence in that. I'm at peace with that.
Yeah. Contentment.
Yeah, I'm content with that. But I think that is a big motivator for me. Is just wanting to give back, wanting to be a light for people, even if it is just like 20 people listening to this podcast, or the kids that I see at work, or my immediate community. I think that is incredibly important and worth something.
Yeah.
So that is kind of what pushes me. What would you say?
That's so heartfelt. I don't know if mine's that.
For the Academy Award. I also
I want to think. I think my main motivation is making the world a little bit better. I think that means a couple of things to me. First, I think there's a lot of like people who are in charge, in power, whatever, right? Who are able to maintain it, mostly just because like people don't know what's going on, right? We don't know how to process our emotions. We don't know how to work through the school system, like whatever. So I'm like, if I can help, provide opportunity for like individuals, it doesn't have to be on a big basis, so that they are not so stepped on. I think that's a big motivator to me. Is like I feel like I've seen just like mean people. Like the first time I worked in a doctor's when I was like 17, I had a job in a doctor's office, and I remember, not that like all doctors are evil or whatever, but like I remember just like how they would talk to their nurses and how they would talk about their patients like they were dollar signs. And I remember just being like, yo, I can't do this. Like,
Yeah.
I can't work here. Just like seeing like even like these fields where like you're supposed to help people, like people really, really don't.
Yeah.
I think once you get too far removed, I've seen people, like your worldview changes. You know, you start getting surrounded by the rich and you're like, the richer will matter or whatever. And like, not that rich people don't matter or whatever, right? But like, it's that removal. It's like, you don't need to remove yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I hope I'm making some money, but
We're trying to pay the bills.
yeah, but I'm not trying to remove myself from the community either. So I think,
Yeah.
like you said, like, yeah, we had a lot of opportunity. I've had a lot of opportunity. I've been blessed with some like natural gifts, and I've learned to like work with some not so natural gifts. Like, you know, like physical was like always the biggest one, right? Like growing up, I was always a small kid, got made fun of since I was in like 4th grade for how small I was. By the time I like was in college, I was like the fastest, hardest hitter on my team, right? On my college team, right? And that wasn't like natural gifts. That was like
You worked really hard at that.
working out 2 times a day, 5-6 days a week, like busting my butt.
Yeah.
And then I busted my butt in the classroom to get into the college because I looked at my freshman and sophomore year grades and was like, that's not gonna cut it, right?
It was not looking great.
It was like I
was
you
alright.
know, I might have gotten somewhere, but like I wouldn't have gotten into as like where I wanted to go. So it's
yeah.
so like providing, but I had opportunity, right? We had access to weights, right? I had the time, like I worked in like a summer or 2, but I didn't have to work, right? So it's like providing the opportunity where we can so that people have a little bit more and can go a little bit further and hopefully like see like the need and pass it down. You know? But it's like, yes, finding the needs, filling the needs, I guess is my main motivation for why I work, why I stay with the people I stay with. It's not why I work out even a little bit, but I work out because I want to die. But a little bit, even that is I'm like, I don't trust the government with my food. Like, I just started a garden because I'm like, I don't trust that stuff, right? Our sister's a farmer because she doesn't trust that stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's like, keep it in the community. That's really what it is.
And I think that's great. And I think an important thing that you talked about too, that I think can get lost with a lot of this is it's about providing opportunity for people, but it's not saving people. We're not doing the work for people. I feel like that's something that people hear a lot is like, they wouldn't have been able to do this like without me and blah blah, and I help pull them up, and yeah, that happens sometimes, and people are provided opportunities, but definitely with like the kids I work with and the people you work with, it's just giving them the space to do the things that they're already capable of doing, and giving them opportunities, giving them resources that they may not have had, so they can do the things that they were already capable and able to do.
Yeah, it's giving you, right? Couple more steps so you can get upstairs, but I'm not gonna put you upstairs. You still gotta walk, you still gotta work.
We strong, but we not that strong.
No, but like that really is what it is, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I can write it on the board, but you have to choose to read it. It's that kind of vibe.
Yeah. But does it bring the horse to the well, but you can't force it to drink?
That is it. Teach a man. We're here to teach a man to fish, so you can eat for a lifetime. If you don't know that one, do you know that one?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I was thinking about.
It's give a man a fish, he eats for a day. Teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime. Right? We're here to teach you how to fish, give you a fishing rod. Shoot, some of you younger ones, if you're with us for a while, we'll even like be like, fish at this spot, right?
Yeah.
We can't make you do it. I will say, Mason has accomplished, I'd say more than me. I'd say I've accomplished a lot more emotionally. Not more, but like I started a lot lower. But we, to some degree, I'd say like we do know what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
We've worked our butts off. We have been on the world a little bit longer than some of y'all. So even if you're like, some of this is dumb, some of it probably is dumb.
Some of it might be dumb.
I don't know anything, but I don't know everything, but I know some things, right?
Yeah.
I know some things work. I know hard work. The quote I always like lived by when I was like younger is like, the hardest workers get the luckiest. People be like, well, he's lucky because it's like, well, yeah, but if you also bust your butt, you're gonna start getting lucky, right? Steph makes those crazy threes because he's practicing the normal threes thousands of times a week.
Yeah. I think that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Steph Curry.
Shout out Steph Curry. Hit us up.
Light skin king.
I don't know. I feel like that's a good point to close on, is just think about what we said back, right? Think about your why, what your motivation is. If you feel like you don't have any motivation, even trying to figure out like why that is. Like, do you think it's possible to change? Do you think it's possible to get better? And if so, why should you? Because it's going to be real hard to change or grow or whatever if you don't believe you can and if you don't know why you would.
Yeah. I'd say that's a great place to start. But yeah, hopefully this gave you a good opportunity to learn a little bit more about us. Obviously, you'll find out more as the podcast keeps going.
Too much from me, probably.
Yeah, you might get a little too much from us. But all good things, hopefully. But yeah, we hope you guys can stick around for this journey. We're going to have some special guests on here with us, some people we know that can help you guys as well, in a bunch of different areas. But yeah, we hope you guys stick around. I'm Mason.
And I'm his brother Keith.
And thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.